Hi, Travis with Splunk here. Last week I was working with a customer building some dashboards, and the question got brought up about changing the colors of the different pieces of the pie chart. So after, getting it to work for their needs, I thought this would be a great video to show others how to do the same thing. And I'm going to start in this video. I'm going to do pie chart and table customization in Dashboard Studio Builder, the latest way to build dashboards. And then I'm going to do the same thing in another video for Simple XML. So I should have that. I'm going to try to record that right after I get done recording this one. First things first, let's jump over to the documentation, which I've already pulled up the document. Go out to your favorite search engine, do Splunk documentation, pie chart, Dashboard Studio. Should get you to the same location here. I'll make sure to, and as you can see, I was already looking through it, but I'll make sure to include all of the links to anything I talk about here below. But here is pie charts, how to format it. Off to the left-hand side, there's other visualizations, and click on the menus there, which I did to bring up table because I'm showing off some cool tricks with pie chart and table in this video for Dashboard Studio Builder. But here's how, stats count by source type. You're going to have to format the data correctly so the pie chart will work. And then if you just keep scrolling down, how to configure stuff or other configuration options, and I will be going in there and recreating that, this dashboard that I was showing in the first screen. I'm going to recreate this in this video. And then you will, when you first go into this will be collapsed, so I had to expand this. There is certain options, right now you can't do from the GUI interface in Splunk Dashboard Studio Builder. So you actually have to go back to the source code and edit that to enable some of these other neat little tricks or ways to customize the dashboard to your needs. And that's where we are going to be using the series colors by field so I can match on a keyword. And the other thing I'm doing is table. And I'll point out here with table, it was something I was playing around with, and I thought it'd be really neat to include in this video. Is instead of my count changing color, if it goes above 4,000, if it goes above 10,000 or whatever, and instead of the count changing color, I actually changed the color of the other column. So since probably I probably put it as something like 10,000 or 10,000. If it reaches this point, change the name of the port, 8,000 or 443 or 8088 or 53, change their color to correspond with the count. So I'll make sure, and that's why I'm pointing this out, is I'm going to go into more about how to configure this because there's a process. It's not actually terrible, but there is a process in, and makes it easy. And I like to create these videos because it also helps me remember how I do some of this stuff. So here, table, the documentation around it, and I was scrolling through it as well. And you can get a lot of good information, what you can do from here, and then examples. And then at the bottom, there is table options, format, column format, and you can expand these and read more. And then the last thing I will show in for the documentation is that piece where I'm going to go in and edit the source code to change, instead of it showing the color change for count, I'm going to have it show it for another field. And this is the process to go through. So you will see me go and do this and how I've, way I found it easy to do this. With that, let's jump back over to my dashboard here. I'm going to create a new dashboard. I'm going to first select dashboards at the top here and then create new dashboard. And then we're going to give it a name. So I've already copied that name. I'm going to give it something like YouTube so I can know which one is, I could have put YT, I guess. But, so I know which one this is. All right, and then Dashboard Studio is what we're doing in this video. and I'm going to say absolute and create. This will open my new dashboard. So first things first, let's get my, there it is, my search, which is around my firewall data and the actions I'm taking. I want a pie chart. I'm going to create a new search. I'm going to say, uh, yeah, paste my search in there, and I'm going to call it action underscore status. And then I'm going to make sure to specify the global time range picker that I have there. Apply. And then let's see, I can make this a little bit bigger in the hopes that this will, let me see here, show up on the screen. Still, working with that to make sure y'all can see the text. You can see here I have blocked and allowed in the last 24 hours. Blocked is now being represented by a blue portion of the pie, while allow is purple. Customer didn't like those colors. Wanted to have, you know, red for blocked and green for allowed. If we click on this visualization, look on the right hand side, there is no option over here at this time of this video of changing how the pie chart and the colors of the pie chart change. Now, as you saw in my, at the beginning of the video, I had this green and red, red being blocked. And we're going to do a keyword match on that. What we're going to do is go into the code, and I'm not going to edit the code here. I mean, if I'm doing small changes, I like it, but I'm not going to do it here. But here's this options section, and that's where if you come back here, the source code and the documentation around it, this is what we need in there for the option to change and match by a, example in the document is April, and it's going to be this color. You can just put in a series of colors and just say wherever the first one comes up, it just lines up with that, but I want it to match. So back to my visualization, and instead of me coming here and editing all of the code from that little bitty screen, I'm going to go into the source code editor at the top menu here. We'll, let's make this a little bit bigger. There we go. And sometimes what I'll do when I first come in here is I'll actually, collapse these, visualization, data source, default inputs. I'll collapse everything to kind of give me a cleaner view so I know the different sections I'm working with. And that's the difference between, the new Dashboard Studio Builder and the simple XML dashboards, is how this is all organized. Stay tuned for the next video where I'm going to go in and show the simple XML version. But here I'm going to go into visualizations. We can see here type, Splunk Pie. There's no option set right now because I haven't done anything yet, like change the background or whatever. So what I'll need to do is paste in, because I've already done this, and instead of you watching me recreate all this, I am going to copy this, come back over here, and inside of this options, I'm going to paste in, and I got to delete this comma there, but paste in series color by field, and then blocked and what I want it to be, and allowed. And if you don't know like hex colors and all that stuff, come out to your search engine. You can type that, into a search bar, and it'll show you what the color is. If you want a certain color, start adjusting, and it gives you the value for that. Another neat trick, and I'll show you here in a second once I save this, or actually I'll click back right now. Another neat trick that you can do, and as you can see, it did come up. My green is for allowed. I am going to try to make that bigger. And let's make this 100% again. What happens if I do 150? I'll make it work. Okay, but you can see right here, blocked is pointing to red and allowed is pointing to green. If you are trying to figure out a color that you want to use, say if you didn't want the green, you wanted some other shade of green or whatnot, I'm going to take this back down to 100. Click on the wall, the background, and just come over here and select the color you want. So if you wanted it more of a, this green, there you go. Just grab that, click on your visualization, scroll down, find what you want, paste it in there. Make sure you take out you don't need 2 pounds there, but here, I mean, that, like you can see it's already changed, and uh, the color is matched, what I had put in my background, and you can come back to background and set it back to what it was. So yeah, just a neat little, like a little tidbit trick to easily figure out what color you want it to be. I'm going to click save. I mean, I always like to save often, especially after I've made some changes and I don't want to lose my work. Another thing, if you want, we can come in here and start, as if, the blocked, I had some percentages behind there. If you want that, click on the pie chart, scroll down until you get to data display. It may be, collapsed, so expand it. You can say values and percentage, and if you want, let's make this a donut. If you like, donut visualization more than you do a pie chart. And we can go in here and change some other settings if you would like. Play around. That's the best thing I can say to do, is play around with all the different settings to see what you can do. And then, go to our document and go, okay, here's some other values and other things I can do. Is any of this going to meet my needs? So next we are going to create that table. From the top menu here, I'm going to go up to add chart, and I am going to say table. I am blind. It's the second one down. You can see it did add the table over here to the right. And we can expand this out. Like I said, I'll try to zoom in and out. The Dashboard Studio Builder, it makes it interesting for me to zoom in and out when I'm building these videos. But I'll do my best to try to get the important things highlighted. Here, I'm going to click on the table. I don't have a data source set up. I didn't set it up when I first created the table, but now I can just click set up primary data source for this one. We're going to create a new search. I've already got the search saved, and I will say dest underscore port underscore count, something like that. I am going to make sure that it's using the proper time range, since I want it to be all in one, tied to one time range picker. You can have multiple time range pickers if you would like. You just have to make sure you have them all configured correctly to go into the right category. So here, table on activity to destination ports. You can leave it here, be fine, but maybe you want, some color to this so you can see at certain points. If you want to, we can start clicking on this table, look in the right hand side. Here's global formatting, there's column formatting, global formatting, that wallpaper. If we want to change the background to be something else, wow, not white, but maybe a dark blue, or if we want to make it transparent so you can see the actual background of the canvas to come through. I'm gonna go minimize that. We have column formatting that we can do in here, and so what you will do is click add column to format, and I'm going to pick a column. So let's start with, we'll do the destination port, and then nothing's happened. Even if I come in here and click another one and say count, I can get both of them in there. Nothing's going to happen over here. You may like, hey, I set it to do something. It won't do anything until you click on crayon, pencil, or whatever you want to call it, the edit button here, and start editing this. So in here, I can say dynamic coloring on text, and this is where you can get the ranges. And then if I wanted to switch this over to a match, which I've clicked on the count, so I want to keep it as a range. I don't like, 80. I think everything will be red if I leave it on 80. There might be, actually, no, not everything will be on red. If I am making adjustments here, so if I put this to anything greater than, or this greater than 2000, it will move everything around. So you will have to, if you want, start at the bottom and just do like this and make the numbers bigger. If you don't want the green, if you want it to, if it drops down to a certain, below this turn red, leave it in this sort. But you can easily click this button and turn it around backwards to say, hey, anything 8,000 above, turn red. As soon as I click out of here, you should see all of my numbers are changing in color. Now, if I wanted to do a keyword match and have 53 be a different color than 443, we can do that as well. So I'm going to click on the table again and go back over to my column formatting. And here's desk_port. And I'm going to click on the pencil there, and I'm going to say text. And what the text is, instead of I can do background, so you can see quickly that it was on ranges and the background changed, or I can leave it as text. That's a preference that you'll have to figure out which way you want to go. And instead of ranges, I'm actually going to do match. So here I can say 53. If it matches this in this column, turn it purple. So as soon as I click out of that box and come back here, you can see destination port is purple. And that may be helpful if you want to do some other, you're looking at different countries and you want a certain country to be a certain color, or if you're up and down and you want up to be green and down to be red, I mean, you can do things like that. I'm going to come back in here and actually remove. Yeah, I'm going to turn this back to off and then come back here, because what I want to do is show you, instead of these numbers turning red, maybe I want the ports to turn red, or whatever column 1 is, I want it to be red, green, and the count just to be the normal white. And to do that, so I'm going to click on table again. There's no option inside of here to say, hey, oops, to say, hey, take this format and apply it to this column. Now in the code is where we have to go, and I will, like I said, I'll have the documentation below. This document here walks you through the process of doing this and where you have to go in and edit the code to get it to switch over. So that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to come back to the pie chart here and stop scrolling through the documentation. And we're going to go to the editor, the source code editor. And yeah, come down here, visualizations right at the top. You can see I have my Splunk table here. Type Splunk table, my theme, for the background. And then here is the table format and then the column format. And underneath destination port, I have one entry here for my option. And then count has 2. And that's because I turned off. So if I you know what, I'll go back. Let me click back here. Let me click on table. And I'll show you what it looks like when you do add another, and then we'll put it back to 100 and scroll over, scroll up. And if I come back here and say destination port, we turn this back on and I say match and I put in a value here, 53. And we click out of it, you can see the 53 is being purple now. If I go back to that source, go up to top menu, click this button here to edit the source, and I go back down to my visualization type Splunk table. Now for my column format, I have my field, the column destination port, and my column for count, and now each one of them has 2. And if we look, there's table, and then in here, and I'm trying to think where it will be at. Yeah, match value. If I do I'm just going to do a search for 53. Yep, there it is. So there is a destination port row color editor, and there's the match. Doesn't happen to be just, easy underneath of here. It's in a different section, but do it like I did. You know what it was. I'm going to search for the keyword 53, but I don't really want that. So what I can do is replace what I have here for row color. I can actually just copy this. We can delete this. I'm going to clean this up and replace this. And that's one way. The other way, yeah, I mean, well, that's the way I'm going to have to do it. Uh-oh, it seems like I've got a problem here. So let me Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. All right, let me just, we'll do this, do this. All right, count. And then I don't need this one here. Oh, that's why. So off to the right-hand side here, it's really hard to see. And I don't know if I'll be able to zoom in enough. But pay attention off to the right-hand side here, as I caught it out of the corner of my eye. There's like this will turn red, and it'll kind of show you. I wish this was bigger. Maybe there's a way to make this bigger or highlight in here. If product team, if you happen to see this video, hit me up. You know how to get a hold of me. But anyway, if I keep, I can't go any bigger. Well, yeah, I can go bigger, but you can see over here, I had a red mark, and it was saying there was a problem, and that's how I knew there was a problem. And so that's another way to tell. Let's see here. We'll leave it at 150. Actually, here we go. Another way I could tell is this little bitty squiggly line. Not the easiest thing to see once again, but this little squiggly line saying, hey, this seems out of place. So as soon as I delete that, the red that was off to the right is not showing up, and that squiggly line is not there anymore. It seems like everything's working correctly, or there's no red. Teachers, pen, get the red ink out. And if I click back, it should now show up underneath destination port. And you can see that it's, corresponding with the count over here to change the colors of the port name. So you can, switch back and forth. Like I said, the document, it'll be down below, it goes over that. I will warn you. So if I, let's see here, bam, go here, do this at 100. If you want to, maybe make it a little bit easier for you to see there. I will warn you now, if I click on table and I come in here to make an adjustment. So if I go up here and, if this wasn't, opposite where green was at the top, and I select, you can see I can come in here and select the destination port formatting, and my settings are there. If I, swap this where the 8,000 would be green, or if I change this number, say if I want this to be 10,000, right? As soon as I save this, it will cause a problem with the way this is formatted now, because instead of it looking at the count, it now looks at the numbers here. So if you make any changes after you've done this, and it, you see this happen, and you're like, what in the world's happening here? I mean, it looks so easy on a video. Why'd this change? This is why. And if I go back to the source code and scroll down to my table visualization and look at that column format, you can see here that the data and a row color, when I copied it from before and I didn't point that out, and I can redo all this and point it out, but before, this field for row color series, and it has a table series by name, this was actually count. So maybe, back up the video and you'll see that this said count. So that's all I got to do to fix this. Could I have went, and this is, I brought up the source code so it's easier to read, but I could have easily came over here, clicked on code, and then went and found, the code right here. And this is where I would make changes like that. So if I come in here and let's say if I did switch that around, it's going to do the same thing again where it rewrites the field because I was in that field. And since I was in that field making the changes, it rewrites this section in my code to back to destination port. So then I have to come back into here and say count. So easy fix, maybe a little annoying, but it's an easy fix at least. And I wanted to make sure to show you all that. So if you run into that problem, you won't have it. Well, there you have it. That is the video around how to go in and customize colors inside of the Dashboard Studio Builder. I'm going to click Save like I always tell you and click View here. You can see it's very similar to what I showed at the beginning, except now I have a different green and a donut instead of a pie chart. But it's easy to go back and click at it and say, hey, let me come in here and let's make that a pie chart. And if I really want to change the color of that, I can do that right, edit this code. I hope this video has been helpful to show you ways to go into the source code and make changes to further customize your visualizations to your need, or if you have an executive, a manager, a commander, whoever, and they want I want this to be periwinkle blue or something, you can go in there and make those changes. As always, if you have any questions, leave it down below, and happy spelunking.